Today is a very special day in Star Wars history. Friday, December 18th, 2020 is the 5-year anniversary of the theatrical release for Star Wars Episode VII The Force Awakens. We haven't talked a whole lot about the sequel trilogy on the channel up to this point, though that is certainly not due to a lack of interest here at Rishi Outpost. On the contrary, I actually have a lot to say on this topic. I've just been waiting for the right time to say it. We thought that today would be the perfect day to kick off a series where we dive deep into the Star Wars sequel trilogy. In today's video, I'm going to talk about my experiences with the lead up to Episode 7, talking about the hype, the speculation, and the reaction to the trailers, as best as I can remember. As far as what this series will look like, we'll be making 3 or so videos related to each movie in the sequel trilogy. 9 videos total, like there are 9 Skywalker Saga movies. See, it's like poetry, it rhymes. Anyway, the first video on each movie will be talking about the speculation and excitement leading up to the movie. The second video for each movie will be a review of the film itself. And the third video for each movie will be about the legacy of the film and its impact on the franchise. So if you're looking for a full-on movie review, I'm afraid you'll have to wait to the next video. But if you want to reminisce about the anticipation for Episode 7, or learn more about what the hype was like back then if you weren't into the franchise at the time, then this is the video for you. Without further ado, let's get right into it. The lead up to Episode 7 begins on October 30th, 2012. This was the day it was announced to the public that Disney had purchased Lucasfilm, and on the very same day it was announced that a sequel trilogy of Star Wars films was in development, and Episode 7 would be released in 2015. At the time, no other details about the film were released. I remember being vaguely happy about the announcement, but to middle school me, a movie that was 3 years away got a little bit of a shrug. As time went on and 2015 got a little bit closer, I started to think more about Episode 7 and what it meant for Star Wars. I wondered what they would do in Episode 7, considering that it was supposed to be a sequel to Return of the Jedi, which I considered to pretty much be a perfect ending to the saga. But I figured they would come up with something cool that wouldn't take away from the existing films, so I wasn't too worried. My other big concern was whether or not the expanded universe would be followed or not. I had grown up with the Clone Wars, young reader books, and reading Wikipedia. Even though at the time I hadn't read very much of the actual EU, I knew a decent amount about it, and I was very invested in the ideas of it that I had. My concern about this issue was realized in the spring of 2014 when Lucasfilm announced that the EU would be mostly discontinued, considered non-canon, and that all Star Wars content would follow a new canon that included only the movies and the Clone Wars. I was disappointed by this decision, but for the sake of giving full creative freedom to the films, I understood why it was done. In the fall of 2014, we got a title for Episode 7, and our first look at The Force Awakens, in the form of a short and cryptic teaser. I remember honestly not really liking this teaser all that much. It was all just a little off for me. Sure, there were X-Wings and the Falcon, but no familiar characters or hints of the story. I also remember not being in love with The Force Awakens as a title, initially, so I was a little bit iffy on the movie at this point, but I was still excited, and ultimately I had faith in Lucasfilm. After the first teaser, news and speculation about the movie was relatively quiet, from what I can remember at least, until April of 2015, when we got a look at the second teaser at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim. This second teaser was a lot more exciting for me. We got to hear dialogue from Luke, see Han and Chewie on the Falcon, and after this teaser, I was a lot less doubtful about the movie. Since we were also just months away from the movie's release at this point, speculation for the movie ramped up. I remember everyone trying to figure out what the title meant, and no one seemed to have any idea, or even any theories on that, which seemed to be even close to plausible. But it was hard to know, even what was plausible, since this was the first new Star Wars movie in 10 years. The possibilities seemed totally endless. Eventually, we got the name reveals for the main 3 new characters of the trilogy, Rey, Finn, and Poe Dameron. This sparked a ton of speculation, particularly because we weren't given last names for Rey or Finn. Between this reveal and the release of the film, it seemed like there was a theory for these two to be related to every single character we had ever seen in a Star Wars movie or TV show. Rey Skywalker, Rey Solo, Rey Kenobi, Rey the daughter of Ezra and Sabine, Finn Calrissian, Finn Windu, all of them. Of course, course, at the time, fans didn't know that Finn didn't have a last name because he had been a stormtrooper for almost his whole life and didn't have a name. I remember at one point we learned that the main factions in The Force Awakens would be the Resistance and the First Order. I didn't really like this news because I felt like it was sort of regressing the story to go back to basically Empire versus Rebellion, the story of the original trilogy. I had been hoping Lucasfilm would try to give these movies their own look and feel, similar to how George Lucas gave the prequel trilogy a different look and feel from the originals. But it sort of seemed like they were going all in on an OT feel. Nevertheless, I'd grown up seeing people on the internet who bashed the prequels, a set of movies that I loved, for a number of reasons that I thought were unfair, and I wanted to be totally excited about the movie. So I focused on just being excited and trusting Lucasfilm to get this right. The rampant speculation gained intensity when the official trailer dropped in October. The first line spoken in that trailer was a character asking Rey who she was, a question that fans would struggle with for years to come. This trailer was epic. It had great music, presented Rey and Finn as compelling protagonists, and Kylo Ren as a threatening villain. The cynics pointed out that a couple shots looked like a new trench run and that Starkiller Base was probably just going to be another Death Star, but for the most part, the hype train was moving full steam ahead. I thought about what things would be like in this movie, but honestly, I didn't latch on to any theories that I can remember during this time. I just wanted to be surprised and blown away. In the final months leading up to the movie, there was a publishing effort called Journey to the Force Awakens that had several books and comics which tied into the movie. I bought and read each and every one of these. I really enjoyed some of these stories, while others were just okay. In hindsight, they only connected to the Force Awakens pretty loosely, but it was cool to be reading those stories and knowing that, at least in some even small way, they were going to be connected to the movie that we were all really looking forward to. Overall, it was pretty impressive how in all the trailers, promotional materials, and tie-in stories, they managed to keep the plot of the movie a mystery, not including leaks, of course. It's especially impressive in hindsight, since it wasn't the most surprising Star Wars movie ever made. I closely followed everything that was officially released, and I still felt like I had no idea what was going to happen in the movie, even when I was walking into the theater. On the night of the premiere, my friends and I got to the theater hours before we were allowed in. It was freezing cold, and we had to be outside until midnight, but our excitement was totally off the charts. We talked about Star Wars and about life for hours. I don't even remember being uncomfortable, even though it was winter and we were out there for about 3 hours. Our early arrival paid off with the best seats in the theater. We took our seats and prepared to watch the most anticipated movie of our lives. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the first part of this series. I look forward to continuing to look back on the sequel trilogy in future videos. Be sure to let us know in the comments what your favorite part of the lead up to The Force Awakens was. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Star Wars content every week. As always, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.